Hello and welcome to the Gambling Files, the podcast that went to see the newish Superman movie last night and came away with more questions than answers. I'm your host, John Bruford, joined by your interim host, Harry C. Lang. Harry, welcome.
Thanks very much, John. Hi, everybody. It didn't go too badly last time because John invited me back. Swinton is still away. So thanks, John. It's nice to be here again. Oh, sorry.
Don't forget to keep the microphone close to your mouth.
Yeah, for viewers, you'll see me holding my microphone next to my lips at John's request.
Oh, that's too close. That's too close.
It's now moving a sixth of an inch away from my mouth. Is that good?
That's perfect.
Right. Good. This is 100% professional. I like it.
Great. And I like giving you feedback on your performance.
I don't think Richard and Judy have this problem, do they?
No. Do you think they secretly hate each other?
It's very hard not to dislike Richard quite a lot, just with his quite sort of sluggish demeanour and smarminess. Judy, I just feel a bit sorry for. She just always looks like she's a rabbit about to be hit by an 18-wheel truck on a highway as her blouse falls open. Yeah, I think, but they've probably made enough money to retire now, so that's nice.
Probably, definitely. They're just doing it to inflict pain.
Their book club alone is like the hidden gem that keeps on giving.
Yeah, and you know, I can't remember if they were the first in the UK. I'm sure. I think Oprah came before them.
Oh, was she? Yeah, I guess that makes sense because Oprah's one was that was a giant killer.
Absolute behemoth.
Industry. I think there's a bunch of Oprah millionaires who had their book plucked from obscurity, and she's like, "Hey, check this book out," and suddenly it's top of every bestseller chart.
Yeah,
I'm guessing that knowing Oprah's work, I reckon behind the scenes, she either got herself a ghostwriting credit on those books or bought some equity in them before announcing. I reckon there's some sort of share deal in the.
No, see, I don't think so. I think that Oprah, I mean, she's super smart. I think she knows the value of what she was doing and knew that subsequent book clubs, this would be a big deal for publishing companies. Just think of the data in that database. Just think of all those. I mean, that's the gold, and that's what they're going to be paying for. But that will have whole marketing budgets poured into it.
There's a reason I think that she was playing both ends, because we went to Martha's Vineyard on holiday once and stayed in a motel.
Did you meet Martha? Did you meet Martha?
Martha's Vineyard. I didn't. I don't think she exists. I think it's an apocryphal name. But we woke up in the morning on a sort of summer's morning, and it was dark. We looked out the window. It was dark because there was a 10-story giga yacht blocking out the sun from the entire village where we were, and the giga yacht beyond to Oprah, who has a place on Martha's Vineyard on the island. So that boat and the fact that there was at least 10 stories above the waterline suggests she's playing both sides of everything and making bank. But anyway, that's a supposition. I don't know that for a fact.
Here's the thing, right? If you've got a giga yacht, why would you have a place on the island as well?
It's a very good point, actually. But I think you'd have the giga yacht so you can go everywhere else, and then you moor up and go to your land-based estate. I mean, she won't just have one. She'll have numerous properties around the world for different purposes. You'll have your sunny places and your places to go when it's winter in America. Bahamas,
if I win the Euro Millions jackpot, which at the time of recording is something like 145 million, I'm still going to be nowhere near that level of wealth, am I?
It won't be enough. You might be able to buy like the back bit and the propeller of a giga yacht. You could probably get 145 million quid. I think you can get into sort of mega yacht territory for that. I think basically, anything over 50 mil gets you into 100 foot plus, but giga yachts when you're in 100 meters plus, I think, and that's where you need your 150, 200, 250 million quid.
Luckily, I'm not a person that's motivated by money, but I have my top executive watch. So
yeah, I was admiring that. It's lovely, and it's got Snoopy looking very chilled. Is that the one? Is that the official one with the sweeping hand, or is that one of those knockoffs where
Fuck
it just ticks?
Fuck off! It's a genuine ticking Snoopy, and it's keeping time nicely.
I quite like it if it just ticked round and Snoopy's finger just rose up and told you exactly how good your day's going.
Man, they've missed a trick there.
They
They've
have
missed a trick.
I still
But
don't
it's
know. But we were talking about this the other day because my daughter wanted to watch a Snoopy movie, and immediately Mrs. Lang jumped in and said, "No, Daddy doesn't want to watch that." And she said, "Why?" And there's a very good reason. I've made it clear repeatedly that I've never laughed at a Snoopy cartoon. I think the whole thing is a con. It's one of those things where everyone, as a kid, was told, Snoopy, it's really funny. And if you watch a Snoopy episode, it's either generic to the point of nothingness, or it's incredibly depressing. There's not one single laugh to be had in a Snoopy cartoon, so I won't watch it. I think it's a myth.
they are a little depressing, but I like the melancholy. I like living there.
Yeah, but I like black humour, but not in a child's comic book. There's a place for black humour.
But here's the question: is it a child's comic book?
Well, they pretend it is.
But if it's a cartoon, does that immediately mean it's for children? Of course not. Is Calvin and Hobbes for children? Of course it isn't.
Calvin and Hobbes I find very funny. I mean, Snoopy is for children. I mean, look, they make children's watches. I mean, that's all they do. Sorry. I'm not being mean today.
I don't think Snoopy's for children.
No, I think you're probably right. It's probably one of these meta post-sartorial things.
The fairly recent movie was really good.
Well, really clearly I didn't waste 2 hours of my life on that.
Dude, it's not going to be 2 hours. 80 minutes.
Watching him and that weird chicken sit on top of a red dog shed feels like 2 hours.
Weird chicken? That's Woodstock, dude. But the packaging that the watch came in, it came in a red kennel.
What else would it come in? What a cattery?
Fish
bowl?
My mate, I sent my mate Becky, I sent her a picture of the packaging. And she summed it up really nicely. She said, I love how much they love the watch. Because that's what it says to you as a customer, as a classy, top executive watch owning customer.
Or it says, we're a giant IP owning international conglomerate and we have a property who in the media lives in a dog shed that's red and looks a bit like a watch box. What do you think we should put the watches in?
Marketing has made you cynical.
Mate, that ship sailed a while ago. Yeah, totally has. But that's also true. It's a watch box shaped hut for dogs. What else could it be?
There's no romance in you, is there?
There is. There's a huge amount of romance, just everywhere except my working life.
I shall not mention my top executive watch again.
No.
I'm just going to keep it in shot.
I feel churlish now. I feel churlish now. I have to raise my watchless wrist.
See, you're not a top gambling industry executive.
No. Well, it's because my watch winder is in the other bedroom. So
is that what you call her?
That's a low blow.
Well, that's what I've been fielding. So listen, I've got to mention our loyal. Some might say foolish. I say hardy, trustworthy Viking sponsors. I in no particular order. We're going to mention Clarion Gaming because they just had a successful IGB Live in London, working towards ICE Barcelona 2026. I've already booked my hotel and flight, which is very unusual for me.
I'd like to go back to Barcelona. I miss those Barcelona trips.
I mean, it's not a hardship when work takes you to Barcelona, is it?
It is not. No, I miss it very much. Fingers crossed something will happen with a couple of things I'm in discussions about that might take me back to Barcelona. Who knows?
Sweet. And maybe you'll have a nice watch to wear when you're there.
You wouldn't want one in Barcelona though, because it would be ripped off your wrists down at the quayside bars, wouldn't it?
I'm quietly confident that will not happen to me.
They might see the antique value in it. They might think, it's a relic from the 1950s.
Well, they might see that if I get hold of them, I'm probably going to kick the shit out of them.
Yeah, they're more likely to see the relic watch. But either way, yes.
A colleague once described me quite generously as unmuggable. So I think muggers see me and they see their kind.
There'd be nothing more embarrassing to be surrounded by a group of industry colleagues, and you're the only one that doesn't get mugged out of pity.
Do you know? I did. Let me think. It was the last ISA Excel, and we had a room we were recording in, and I had this lovely guy in, and we were talking about the switch to Barcelona, and the area around the expo is a bit muggy, you might say.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, it's a guy I know, and he was there the other week, and he got mugged." And I said, "Well, there are things you can do to not get mugged. There are steps that you can take to make yourself safe." He said, "Like what?" I said, "Well, don't get drunk.
Yeah. That'd be number one on the list. Number
If
two
you're
on the list,
stumbling around, you're
yeah,
an easy fucking
stumbling around
target."
on your own, pulling out your phone, trying to text someone, pulling your wallet out to see if you've got enough money for a taxi. These are all red flag warnings that you are a mark.
And he said, "Oh, he said my friend, he was drunk."
Of course he
I'm
was.
like, "Well, there you go." And I said, "Another thing you can do is not wear a fucking Rolex."
No, but that's a given. I mean, anyone who wears a nice watch and goes out and about Barcelona is begging for it. I have a theory on this,
He
by the way.
was wearing a luxury watch.
That's okay. That's begging for trouble. But I have a theory because we've always talked about this, like going back to when it started going to Barcelona, and those I haven't been there for probably 10 years or so now to the conferences. But we always talk about ICE or whatever goes to Barcelona, everyone there, a bit of mugging problems. I think there's every possibility there might be a mugging conference that happens in Barcelona at the same time for muggers from around Europe, and they have the same hierarchical order. There's a sort of, the card sharks and the pickpockets and the sort of the vagrants down the bottom, and then they migrate through to sort of like big boss crime lord, run junket style pickpocket networks on the tube line in various capital cities, and they all go there and meet up and they talk and have panels and
Best
seminars.
practice, yeah.
Best practice technology.
Mm.
It's the sort of Velcro fake arm, so you can slip it into get someone's wallet on the train. And they go there, and then in the evenings, it's basically the practical exams. They go off and they put in all this new strategy, tactical planning into practice on all the gambling execs, some of whom are too tipsy to know and stupidly wearing a nice watch. I haven't put too much thought into it, but actually reading it out like that, it kind of adds up.
But also, it's a short story waiting to happen. Um, the thing is, I didn't hear of anybody having any trouble at ICE. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure somebody did somewhere. It's a major city,
Mm.
and some people can just find trouble. It's usually me, but I didn't hear. I didn't hear any. I didn't hear any bad stories, and all those things people were worrying about. I didn't hear any of that shit.
Oh, that's good.
Not to say it didn't happen. Maybe I just didn't hear
Or
about
yeah,
it. But
or people are so embarrassed that they didn't tell anyone about their
be,
nefarious behaviours.
being drunk, rubbing their Rolex on their
Being drunk,
shirt.
getting into the wrong type of professional dancing establishment, being dragged out to a cash machine to remove €1,000. Because that used to be the big chestnut in where was it? Um, Bucharest, or was it no Budapest? That was the scam. People were always getting done for cash machines by large hairy bouncers who dragged them out of strip clubs. Hopefully that's changed because it was a beautiful city. But again, you just don't go out on your own late at night in certain parts.
I've done that as well. Not the cash machine thing. I've just gone out late at night in certain parts, and
Yeah, then the next morning you're like, why did I do that? That was foolish.
no, just woken up and gotten on with my life.
I got on a bus in San Francisco a couple of years ago. San Francisco is my least favorite city in the world now. Not for any other reason. I mean, it's a beautiful place still. It just has incredibly bad social problems around drugs and addiction. And they've piled all the addicts into the downtown bit around Market Street, where my team at the time, a travel team, had shoved us into a hotel where everyone was shooting up outside. It was horrible. And one night, coming back from a sort of sponsors party, and this is in the games industry, so mobile and PC games or whatever. And I was kind of tired, kind of fed up. I really wasn't enjoying this whole trip. And I just wanted to get home. Couldn't get a taxi, couldn't get an Uber. Uber was like, I was doing 3-minute journeys in Uber to avoid the hell on earth that was the middle. And I just got on a bus and then got off like one stop after the hotel. And that was only like 200 meters away. 200 meters, midnight, Market Street. Big mistake. Really, really not very fun. It's like dystopian future of zombie-like characters trying to accost me for cash. Not in a bad way, actually. They were all too fucked up to mug me, but yeah, it wasn't great.
That does sound good.
Anyway, I digress. We're 2 sponsors shy. Who else we got?
We are 2 sponsors shy, and let's hope that Clarion Gaming don't mind that association between them and the drug-addled
Yeah, sorry,
debris
not
of San
doing
Francisco.
sponsor stories. Yeah, sorry, I'll be back on track.
And we have Odds Matrix, part of the Every Matrix family, for all of your sportsbook needs. Finton had the demo. Finton's not here, but he did tell me that the demo was excellent. And the proof of the pudding for my money for Odds Matrix is the amount of people that are either going to them when their deal expires with their current provider, or who are jumping their deal and going to Odds Matrix, because the amount of people that are signing up to them all around the world is actually a bit of a testament to what they're doing, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you know otherwise. I don't know. But they're doing something right. So get the demo. Tell them we sent you, because, it'd be good to pretend somebody's listening. And then last but not least, of course, we have Optimove, the industry's number one, iGaming industry, I should say, the iGaming industry's number one CRM software provider. I was on the demo for this one, and it was amazing. And they, like every Matrix, Optimove constantly innovating, constantly coming up with new stuff to just do what they do better, which allows operators to do what they do better. It allows you to achieve granularity, market across multiple platforms. It's extraordinary. It's mind blowing. And if you tell them that we sent you, or use the link in the thing, in the show notes, they give you your first month for free. So Optimove. So those are our 3 virile sponsors. And they're also very, very nice. So, if you need another reason, there you go. So this our guest on this episode is Brandie Black, Brandie E Black. Now Brandy, she goes by different names, but we're calling her Brandie E Black. I'm definitely not calling her Brenda, because why would we do that? Brandie E Black. So Brandy is founder of Brand E Media. You see what she did there? It's not Branda Media. Brand E. Brandy. See? Fuck, I could spell it out for you, Harry, but I'll just wait for it to sink in.
I'm staying with you.
And ESGiGaming.com, right? So what Brandy's trying to do is to bring ESG to the industry in a meaningful way, because it's something that she's kind of living the life. This is going to sound really daft, but she's living the life. She's growing her own vegetables. She's living as sustainably as she possibly can. And she wants to introduce this sort of responsibility, and for the industry to recognize that sustainability across all things is achievable, and it's a very positive goal, and it's a positive goal for their customers, for their end users as well. So it's a very interesting chat. If you know Brandy, you'll know that it goes all over the place. But if you've listened to the podcast before, you'll know it probably goes all over the place as well. Harry, I've got that shaft of light again. It's like you've been touched by God.
No, I haven't been touched by God, but the other reason is Mrs. Lang's come into my office to get something, and so I'm sparing her blushes.
Is this so you don't want us to see her because you know that we'll know that she's too good for you?
everyone's always known I'm punching well above my weight. That's been known for what we've been married 10, nearly 11 years. So that's not news, mate. But no, the other reason is she's still in her pajamas. So I thought I'd defend her modesty, and now I'm back in the shadows where I belong.
Yeah, totally beat me to that. So ESG iGaming, it's a non-profit. It's and it's an interesting concept, and yeah, it's just a wide-ranging chat with Brandy about what she's doing. It's very interesting. So, without further ado, meet Brandy. Welcome to this week's episode of the Gambling Files podcast. I'm not sure if I've recorded an intro for this one or not, so no, I will, because I have to mention our benevolent sponsors. Hi. Welcome to the episode. We're joined not by Fintan Costello, unfortunately. He is busy catching up for the time that he lost while he was being a busy executive at IGB Live. I was, of course, hard at work with my nose to the grindstone while Fintan was being a busy executive. Joined this episode by Brandie E Black, who some of you may know as Brandy. Brandy is the founder of Brandie E Media and the co-founder of non-profit ESGiGaming.com. And we're here to talk about both those things, probably with a focus more on the ESG side of things. But as ever, I really don't know. Brandy, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much, John.
It's all right.
It's a pleasure.
Well, it wasn't.
I'm
difficult.
the biggest fan.
Well, prepare to have your expectations dashed. We always say that if it's keep your expectations, set the bar low, and you'll be far less likely to be disappointed.
That's a good strategy.
Well, first things first. So you were saying before we started recording that you're probably best known in the iGaming industry for Brand E Media.
Right.
What is Brand E Media?
So Brandy Media, because I'm the only one and only founder of it. I started that about 15 years ago. I got into gambling in 2009, and I was actually initially an affiliate. That's in the Wild West days, let's call it like that. So I started with that. Before I even got into gaming, I was doing affiliation with niche products. I was living in Canada at the time. That's where I'm from. Not so long after I moved to Sweden, then to the UK, and ended up in Spain, where I am now. And I was always operating Branding Media. So basically, through the affiliation, I had obviously building a lot of relationships with all walks of life in the gambling industry. And because we were an affiliate, and then we were starting to offer PR and content services to complement the affiliation, it just kind of spawned out. We focused from an affiliation perspective. We were doing casino in the US, and that's, like I said, in 2009. So that's quite a different time than it is now. And a lot of it's so long ago now, to be honest, but I think what more or less happened is there was a lot of changes in the US, and it just became more and more difficult to work with that market. I lost one of my business partners as well. So then we had casinobird.com. It's a long time ago that people would remember that one. But anyway, through that transition, I ended up doing marketing, PR, and content. So then that's just was the evolution of my company. We always focused mostly on content. So localized content. I have still to this day, well, more now than back then, but I have around 40 plus people. They are all working independently, but with me in terms of writers, marketers, all with an iGaming background. I think we can cover almost every language out there, and we have. So we're still doing that. But as you know, honestly, with the rise of AI and everything that happened, we honestly lost a lot of clients. They just didn't feel the need anymore. Now they're coming back, ironically, because they don't see so much value in AI, so or in AI content rather, because it's just not working from an SEO perspective, which is another thing, true and untrue. So yeah, that's kind of the story behind that. And I was
Well,
always known as the content PR girl and affiliate. I mean, that was how people more or less knew me from over the years in the industry.
going back to what you just said about AI,
Uh-huh.
like clients coming back because AI is not working for them
Yeah,
in a content in an SEO sense.
right.
Why is that? Because when I think about SEO and I think about AI, you think, holy shit, well that makes everything far easier, doesn't it? But equally, it increases the potential for an insane amount of content to be put out,
Yeah.
all of which has SEO in mind. And you know, when there's a deluge like that, we're talking, you know, a relatively sane river to Niagara Falls. Um, is it quantity that's fucking everything up?
Yeah, I was exactly, you took the thought out of my mind. I was thinking, yeah, okay, there, I'm not saying that AI content isn't relevant and useful. I'm not saying that whatsoever. It absolutely is, especially with the generative engine optimization and all these many new acronyms that we really don't need, but we will have inevitably. I mean, I think you can use AI for a lot, obviously. I think as a world, as a business world, there's a lot of evolution in that space daily, of course, but it's just, I mean, everybody knows it. I mean, look at LinkedIn. There's so much quantity of this, and it's like this really funny tone of voice. And I mean, I don't know. I'm not, again, not to say if you actually learn how to use it, I think AI can benefit a lot of things, make processes simpler, make implementation simpler. My opinion is that at least at the moment, let's see, because it's moving so quickly, I think it's quite difficult to only rely on AI for content, which was a roadblock that we had, like, let's say 1 2 years ago. And actually now, like, especially with other languages, we do a lot of Portuguese content, we do a lot of Spanish, like we focus a lot with Latam. We can do any Nordic content. I've done that for many many years. Obviously you can imagine that's quite difficult with AI, so I mean at the moment at least. So yeah, I don't know. It's a quality quantity game, and I think quality always rules. I mean, my opinion, of course, and I would say most people's opinion based on what I read, at least on LinkedIn and elsewhere. So, if that answers your question.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, I've got mixed feelings about AI. I've seen some people really, really carefully over time learn, try things out, and in order to create actually quite meaningful content.
Hmm.
And it seems to me that the issues are the ease with which content can be generated, which means there's just a ton of shit out there, and it is shit
Yeah.
because there's no human oversight involved. But also, if you're able to use AI within a closed pool of data, then it's magic.
100% agree with that. Like the large language models, obviously you can cater the tone of voice to your previous writing. Like that's been existing for ages. I think it's a lot of tweaking. It's a lot of ongoing learning, as anything in this regard. I'm a bit old school. I don't know, but I mean, I paid a lot of attention to it. For example, with our ESGI game, and we use AI a lot for the content, but it's very human overseen. And my business partner is very good with this, better than me in that regard because he's just better at it. But yeah, I think I mean I don't know the you can I mean if it was so easy to do these things, and of course it isn't, but it's also not invaluable or not valuable. But I think it's just a soft spot where a lot of people don't know how to implement it. And yeah, But I can just speak from the inquiries I've been getting over the last 4 months, and they want human content. And everyone asks me, do you use AI? Yes, for research, but or maybe to generate some ideas, but we are human first. Of course, that maybe not everyone agrees with that, but that seems to be what I see picking up again. So let's see. I mean,
I hope it does, because there, it's kind of, as I mean, I write, and I find that if I'm working from an interview that I've done with somebody, I can work off a transcript that's been generated, and that software's been around for ages.
right.
And I can work off the automatically generated transcript, and that's something that's been getting better and better over the years. But I still don't work off it,
Right.
because what I find is, if I'm working off an existing transcript, it's far more tricky to get into it. See, what people read is very different to how people hear.
Yeah.
And what people read, when we're reading dialogue, it's entirely different. If you just wrote something verbatim, it would read like shit. It would be all over the place for anybody almost, apart from probably some kind of professional orator. And of course, transcription by its nature is verbatim. And if it's not, well, I don't necessarily want some language model deciding what I do and don't need in there.
Right.
And what I find if I'm transcribing the interview, what I find is, when I finish transcribing the interview, I've edited it as I've gone along. I've changed it to read like speech rather than to be like speech.
Yeah.
Which is a very, very different thing. And it's done. And when I finish transcribing it, it's, dare I say it, perfect. And I don't see, maybe there is a future where that will happen, but I don't see it, because we're talking about something that's extremely complex. And when you hear AI generated content, I'm sure it will improve, but dialogue is stilted. The way that people speak, it's very unnatural.
Yes.
And that's quite a big gap between writing something verbatim, which software generating something verbatim, to editing that to sound like actual speech, but to read better.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I got you.
There are some quite large jumps in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling relatively secure in my living.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can say one thing on that, and I'm sure you've noticed this as well. And I'm not making this up. It's, if you read marketing reports, and that's not for iGaming necessarily, but this raw content in the last 2 years, like people that just take a video, these influencer people, nothing has to be so, I don't know, this high quality movie, or I don't know, like this super high quality video. Like, people are more drawn to, at least generally speaking, to more raw content, and that's from a video perspective. But then there's another topic, with, for example, thought leadership, because authority in content and in an industry, whether it's iGaming or otherwise, these are really prevalent themes now, because people are like, okay, we're sick of hearing or reading from these robot voices. Like, it's weird, it's unpersonal. And I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't have a value, because it's easy to make these viral videos. I get it, these faceless YouTube channels, so and so and so. But then at the same time, like, this rush of AI and this rush of quantity AI content is driving people that are like, oh, I miss the good old days of MySpace or whatever, video blogging, like, it's, I noticed that. So I think it's all about a balance. I mean, For me too. I came from a writer background, like before any of the affiliate stuff, I worked as a journalist. I was very young. I was like 17, 18. So, I mean, that's quite a while ago, and different times, different industry. But I mean, I don't know. I've done lots of different prompt, what do you call it, experiments and so on, and I don't know. I mean, if I'm trying to write as a thought leader or in some perspective in that, like I can't. I mean, it makes no sense to me, and I mean, it's what's the word? I mean, it's like an oxymoron. It's like you're a thought leader, but your AI, I mean, maybe fine. They understand your writing, they've examined your writing, but like, is it really your opinion at the end of the day? I don't know. I mean, I don't have the answers to that really. That's just my opinion, but I see that.
No, I think like the way that I look at it at the moment, like authenticity is, it's a buzzword and it's one that's been around forever.
Sure.
But I do think it's really important, and I think it's really important across the board in all that
Absolutely.
you do in your life and your work.
Mm-hmm.
But see, like, so you can train, AI software to write in the same style as me,
Sure.
but it's not going to come up with a story about shitting its pants in a bar in Madrid.
Yeah, probably not.
I think that again, there's a big leap there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And and is it going to come up with the details in a story like that? I don't think it's going to feel authentic. And so again, that's just one of those ways where you just think, well, maybe we will be all right because AI can think up a story, but and the thing is, everything that I say now in 10 years is probably going to be fucking happening, isn't it?
Yeah. I was thinking the same. Yeah. I mean, I
But
hope also not. I think very much the same as you. I mean, what do I really want I mean, I don't know. If I like somebody I respect, I don't know, whoever, some business person, some advocate for whatever, I don't know. I want to know their opinion. I don't really want to know the AI's
yeah,
understanding of their opinion. Like, I want to
or
know their opinion.
a scraped mean opinion.
Yeah, I
The
don't want to
thing
see
is, like, if
fake
you
people in
think
videos. Like,
about
I don't, but maybe I'm old school. I don't know, you know?
the way that art has progressed through the centuries,
Uh-huh.
through the millennia.
Uh-huh.
Like, art was part of storytelling culture.
Mm-hmm.
And storytelling culture became all sorts of things. It became poetry. It became folk music, like folk music in the true sense, in actual proper oral tradition folk music,
Mm-hmm.
as in pre-Bob Dylan.
I was gonna say Bob Dylan.
And it's kind of it wasn't him going electric that caused all the fuss. It was him writing songs. That was the big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody that says it was going electric, I think maybe they don't quite get the big deal. But anyway, it's by the
Yeah.
by. So art evolved as part of telling stories,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of, if you let AI run riot with art, would it naturally come up with the Sistine Chapel ceiling? Would it take the Renaissance and showing the human form in its true nature? Would it lead naturally to Picasso, to Lowry, to fucking Jackson Pollock?
Uh-huh.
These aren't necessarily natural evolutions. These are people who think differently.
Yes. Correct.
Is that a possible natural evolution with AI? I don't think that that's the way that it works.
I don't think so either. And I mean, again, obviously AI is only as smart as what we feed into it as well and what exists.
And
And,
I'm a
it's like a
dipshit, so
catch-22 kind of.
AI's cursed.
I mean, I don't think it's unuseful, but I mean, I don't like, and again, maybe I'm just old school, but I really don't, I mean, I see a lot of advantages in processes when it comes to banking, when it comes, I mean, We can get into that after, but like the real stuff, like I think you use art as a great example. I mean, I'm also a painter, like by hobby, and I've done that all my life. Not that I'm so great or anything, but I mean, that's the joy of it. Like, there's so much. I mean, it's soul, and AI, I'm sorry, is soulless. I mean, it's smart, and yeah, I mean, it's not the same. Yeah, and also coming from a writing background,
Is that one of your paintings behind you?
No, that was actually bought at a Sigma auction. At the Sigma event, it was a charity auction in Toronto, my hometown, in 2022. So Sigma, they're really awesome with charitable contributions. I went to the charity gala. Actually, we were pretty a little tipsy, and me and Adrian Brink, industry legend. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple years ago. Me and him were riling everybody up, and we were just outbidding people just for the fun of it. We were not intending to buy anything. And another buddy of mine from the industry, Mark Thorne, he was bidding on this painting, and I just to be a biatch, I was outbidding him, and then I ended up buying it because, of course, I mean, I was the last bidder, so. And I also have the NFT of it. Funny, yeah. It's by a Ukrainian artist, actually. She's very nice. I met her very briefly. Very nice lady. But that's the story of that painting. And I think it sat in the Sigma office in Malta for about 2 years before I finally picked it up.
To anybody who is listening to the audio version of this, you can't see the painting I'm talking about, but it's very nice.
It's a Bitcoin painting. It's all about, I mean, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's all about power to the people. There's like a dog, there's a anonymous, I don't know. It's a bunch of people, working class, blue collar, white collar, blah. It's interesting. Honestly, I didn't really look at it when I bidded for it. It just was kind of a big surprise when I went up on stage to
So casual, just throw money away.
Yeah. I mean, I was not expected to actually get it. I was like, okay, well, there we go. But it was a to be fair, it was a charitable write-off because it went to a charity. So in the end, it wasn't so bad. I can't remember how much it cost. It wasn't cheap, but wasn't too crazy, I think. I don't remember. It was years ago.
I'm horrified by your display of opulent wealth.
Back in the day, I'm poor now. I have a house, so buy a house and then you become poor pretty quick. And a garden and a pool.
But your house ties in with the next thing we're talking about.
Yeah. Thank you for so cleverly connecting the two. Very much.
Nobody's ever said that before.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not true. Yeah, do you want me to go into that? Because it's quite cool. I mean, for me, it's I would say, I don't know, I mean, let's put it like this, like it all started back in COVID, and I won't ramble too much, but I wanted to get out of the city. Prices were cheaper in Spain than ever before. Mortgage rates were down. I had already been looking for 2 years before that, never found a place that I liked, that I could afford, that made sense. And anyway, after quite some, I mean, I must have and I never even been to Valencia. I lived in Barcelona for 11 years, in the city, of course. I was renting there, of course. And I went on a little masquerade or a little adventure looking for houses, saw 25 plus, found here. It's very much in the mountain, lots of nature, lots of garden. I think I have like 25 fruit trees on the property. I don't even know. I discover more every day. Not really anymore, but anyway, so fast forward, I eventually moved in, and then I just went full on into the gardening, sustainability. I did a lot of renovations at the house to make it more eco-friendly or more sustainable. A lot to go because a lot of stuff was rushed in urgency and I was very stressed. But anyway, that kind of step by step, I started getting into this like 2 years ago, around now, actually. I started gardening here. Like properly, aggressively trying to really maximize the space I had. Then I'm a big fan of cooking. I love cooking, as a lot of people that have my social media will know that. And of course, gardening as well. And then I just started getting into all this preservation. And I mean, we haven't met at an event yet, unfortunately, but I started doing Brandie Media branded marmalades. And I brought them to London at the last ice in London. I mean, it's not like I bring hundreds, I bring like 15, so it's quite exclusive, like little jars with my logo from my agency. I brought them to Barcelona Ice as well. So it was just kind of funny, like all these hobbies. And I'm just like, oh, how can I apply this to my personal life? Because I've been an entrepreneur since I'm 18, so I don't really know how to live differently, you know. I really don't. My good buddy Andy Jones always said, like, Brandy, we are unemployable. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much true. I mean, not like I'm a great worker, I'm a hard worker, but I probably would have a very hard time working for another company, although there's many great companies in the industry, of course. Anyway, all this lifestyle change for me, all this new appreciation for nature, just kind of led me slowly in the direction of, okay, how can I apply this to my business life? Within that, even before that time frame, I went into the direction of finance. I'm really into investing and financial freedom, personal finance. Like, I've always been a big advocate of that, because I didn't come from a rich family. I came from a regular family, very great family, but I was never, built with a silver spoon, or whatever they say. So anyway, that started, and I got my financial advisory license about 4 years ago through Luxembourg. It's called the FPA. It's the main financial association for Europe. And then I learned about ESG, and I was like, what's ESG? And I was like, oh, okay. So like it all kind of made sense to me. And I'm a domain hoarder. I can't help it. Coming back from the affiliate roots, I'm a serial guilty domain hoarder. I can't help it, like I said. So I bought a bunch of ESG iGaming domains, and I was like, I will use this for something sometime or whatever. Let's see. And then and then move forward a bit. Just in the fourth quarter of last year, with my co-founder, which is Wolfgang Resch. He had all these ideas of how to bring sustainable solutions to the industry and so on. And I said, well, that, like, and I had this idea with the environmental side. I was always already kind of positioning my agency brand as that. And we kind of brainstormed together and came up with this concept, ESG iGaming, which is the other brand you mentioned of mine, which is esgigaming.com, nonprofit. That is just launched as of May 1st. So we've been working on it since last year, developing it. Initially, we were going to do a B Corp organization, which is a for-profit, but with the ESG factors in mind. B Corp is very famous, especially in Europe, but it's very international as well. So that was our first goal, but then we realized, we are working in online gambling. So if we are going to do this ESG iGaming project, it should be a nonprofit. So which we applied for, we got it. We now have it now as of a month or so, final stages. And that's basically how we got onto esgigaming.com. That's a mouthful. Sorry, I talk a lot, you know. I can't, I think you're muted.
Fuck, I was, yeah. Somebody was fucking hammering outside.
Oh, no worries.
No, it inspired me to look up ESG on Wikipedia.
Oh, nice.
Because they're a great band, and their album.
Is that a band?
Yeah. They did an album in 1983 called Come Away with ESG, right?
No way.
The group's work had become popular, mainly among hip-hop artists searching for samples, with acts such as, get this for a list of people that have sampled their stuff.
Okay.
TLC, Wu-Tang Clan, Kool Moe Dee, The Beastie Boys, Big Daddy Kane, Gang Starr, Junior Mafia, Tricky, JD, MF Doom, and some indie groups.
It's a rock band.
No, they're not at all.
Okay.
They're not
Dance,
rock at
punk,
all.
funk, or I don't know. That's
Dance definitely, but yeah, there's a little bit of everything in there. But they are, proper musicians. They have a drummer and a bass player, and but the album's absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
It is a
Did not
joy from
know
start to
about it.
finish.
Okay.
There's 3 songs that my kids sing along with me in the car to.
Yeah.
Right? There is No More I Love Yous by Annie Lennox.
Nice.
Because we all do the backing vocals. We all do that. There is Everybody Loves Turtles, which I found accidentally a couple of months ago, and it's the most bonkers brilliant song. And ESG doing You Make No Sense. It's actually my youngest's theme song. And he'll sit there and sing it, and he'll point at me while he's singing it. You make no sense. I'm like, yeah, you're grounded.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Good luck with being
Parenting
7,
top.
fucker. But no, seriously, ESG are phenomenal. Absolutely brilliant.
I feel like I might have found them, but I don't know who they are. I feel like I probably came across it when I was researching back. I don't know, but I'm gonna have to listen to it after this.
Oh man, the dance on the album is just one of the great songs.
Nice.
I mean, it's a dancey song. It is
nice.
pretty special.
That's
But anyway,
cool.
I'm getting sidetracked here.
No worries.
Here's a question, right?
Yeah.
A lot of buzz phrases go around in cycles. Responsible gambling. Yeah, we'll do as much of that as we need to give a fuck about. Sustainability. Yeah, we're totally about sustainability. A lot of buzzwords, a lot of buzz phrases, a lot of things that people say and don't necessarily mean. What does ESG mean to you in an iGaming context?
Yeah,
and what should it mean to the industry?
Right. It's a great question because when I was doing field work to reaching out to industry contacts to get a feel of what would this kind of concept mean to you, and this was almost a year ago that I was doing the field research, let's call it. I think a lot of people were like, yeah, it's just another stupid acronym, blah, 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 which I get because I'm also sick of acronyms. But I mean, ESG, I don't believe it's going away. It's been around for a very long time, first of all. At least in Europe, there's a lot. I mean, and don't quote me on all of this activity because it literally changes by the day. With the new regulations of reporting standards, at least in Europe, I mean, I think North America, a bit behind, Asia, a bit behind. I'm not so focused. I'm more focused on Europe, of course. But, ESG, it's true. What is it? Because they don't and actually I just started my ESG certification course yesterday. So actually the how do you call it? The teacher, he was talking about this and he's saying what does ESG even mean? Environmental, social, governance. It's just another acronym. But really, there's if you're following that sector, there's an undeniable how do you say directive coming at least from the EU where companies need to report their carbon footprint, their environmental impact. With gambling, obviously player responsibility or protecting players, responsible gambling and so on. So it's a question yet to be defined in some ways. I think they have a framework for it, but it's applied in different ways because some companies, and it doesn't have to be gambling related, are just using it as a checkbox, but that's actually not the intent. It's like compliance in the industry, right? Which would fall under, of course, governance. It's just becoming a checkbox. Do we have player protection tools? Do we have the tools to allow players to opt out that actually work? I mean, I'm not the expert in this per se. That's why, I mean, ESG iGaming, we are a facilitator of creating these, or we are a facilitator of enabling these solutions to be more prevalent. So I think the real definition, it's maybe difficult to put an exact definition because I think it really depends on the industry. If you're in the car industry or in the oil industry, it's going to look very different than the online gambling industry. You know what I mean? It's more of a standard directive from the reporting perspective. European companies have to abide by that. If you're a European company, if you're a public company, especially, private, I'm not really sure actually, but what it means for the oil industry will be different for the online gambling industry, but we want to definitely drive this home in terms of AML, KYC, player protection, responsible gambling. That's, and of course, equality in the workplace, the whole DEIB, or DEI, whatever they're calling it now, and also the environmental impact, which is a big one. That's more from a green tech perspective. That's one side of it, but also how are companies giving back to the environment. If they have offices in Malta, if you've ever been to Malta, you know they have a lot of environmental issues. How are the companies based in Malta giving back to their home turf? Like there's many routes you can look at, from each E, S, and G, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So just to give you an example, right, with ESG iGaming. So it's pretty straightforward. We and because we are an NGO, we can't really call it services because you can imagine there's a lot of ways that how you have to word things, and of course you have to deliver on what you are saying you're doing, that, which gives us another benefit of being a nonprofit. So it's basically a 3-step solution-based system. So first of all, we have I think it's 28 questions. I think it's a form. So we basically want to understand what the given, it could be an operator, it could be a game provider, it could be a PSP, whatever. It's applicable to all in different dynamics. I think the operators it's mostly relevant to because they are the ones that deal with the players. So basically with these 28 questions, some are only relevant to operators, but based on their answers, we have a scoring. And the way we develop these questions are via the ISO standards, B Corp. We use some other auditing standards for that, and then catering it to iGaming. So based on that, there is you will fall into one of 3 tiers based on your answers, and then given on that, we can rank you 1, 2, 3, and then basically if you don't score at all or under 30%, we give you like a free roadmap for how you can be better in the sustainable, environmental, governance, social aspect. If you fall within one of the other 3 tiers that is acceptable, we give you our certification badge, which we are soon to have trademarked. And then for a quarterly fee, we haven't finalized the pricing yet because that takes a bit more time. Considering we're now an NGO, it's a little different in the process. But then you will fall in one of those tiers. Based on that tier that you're in, you can commit to be in our membership program, where we help you improve your ESG adherence and improvement internally as well with auditing. And we cannot do this alone. Like this is a rough outline, mind you, but we also want to reinvest those funds from those quarterly memberships into causes that resonate with the company. For example, I did something with Play and Go many years ago. They are officeless. They are a fully remote company now, which I think is very cool. They used to have a big office in Malta, and we did like a creative campaign between them and one of their casino clients. I'm not going to say because I don't want to step over that boundary, but we used that to donate money into a cat sanctuary, where I even adopted one cat in Malta because they resonate. That's where their home office turf was, so and so. This had nothing to do with ESG gaming, as this was a long time ago, but that's an example of how we can use actual business to give back to the communities. And of course, it's going to depend on the company. If you're based in Estonia, maybe you have a different narrative of what kind of difference you want to make. So we are basically facilitating improvements in sustainability, environmental, social, and governance for the potential clients that we would have, or members. Let me not call it clients. Let me call it members, if that makes sense.
Surely we can use as a model for this.
Mm-hmm.
Surely we can use tribal gaming in the US.
Excellent example. Yeah, excellent, absolutely, and that's a big topic right now, as we know.
I mean, I've interviewed obviously lots of people over the years.
Yeah.
But I remember two sort of stood out in my mind. I remember interviewing a lovely guy called Ron Patel, who's an English-born fella, and he was. I can't remember what casino he was at that time. He'd been there for a while, but he was talking about the work that they'd done in the community, but the things that they had introduced to the community. It was things like childcare,
right?
Not just for their staff, childcare for the community, so people can get out and work if they want to. It's giving people choices,
right?
And that's a huge deal. And I remember when I was at God, this was just before COVID, so it would have been like October 2019. After G2E, I went to Washington State and I visited a few casinos there. And in one of them, I met Stanford Lee, who's now at one of the Australian casinos. He's a GM, I think, at one of the Australian casinos. And Brian Decora, who's just joined another tribal casino it's one of the big ones. I can't remember which one. But anyway, I was chatting to those two. And they were talking about really odd things. So things that have a direct effect on their staff, but that they recognized had a wider effect on the community, because you can't affect one without affecting the other. And that's kind of the key. It's recognizing how interlinked everything is. And I remember there was a very dangerous road from, it sort of wound through the Snoqualmie Pass, where the Snoqualmie Casino was. And there'd been loads of accidents on there, and they'd lost some team members in an accident. Some people had died. And they said that the impact on the team was just, it was just massive, because people had been working together for years. They all knew each other really, really well. And there was this terrible accident, but there were lots of accidents on this road. And so the casino campaigned as a local employer to all of the relevant people locally to say, we really need to do something about this road. It's far too dangerous. Lots of people use it, blah, blah, blah. But the casino was also able to back that and say, hey, local council, if you want to do something about this, we have some funds and we can help you make this happen. And actually, I think that's a really wonderful example of something that directly affects their own staff, but massively affects the entire local community and makes the place better for everybody.
It's a brilliant example, yeah.
That kind of attitude. But they just did it because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think that mindset, it doesn't take a large percentage of profits to do shit like this.
Absolutely.
You can do a lot with a little. An awful lot of employers, most of the tech companies around Vegas, like your aristocrats and people like that.
Right.
They all have schemes in which their teams can donate time to their local communities. They can get out and work for charitable organizations in their local communities. Things like that are massive. Okay, you lose somebody for a day a month.
Come on.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We're not talking about a great cost, but we're talking about huge value.
And it changes the perspective. There's two ways of thinking about it, right? Because number one, doing these things, first of all, it's just the right thing to do. And I'm sorry, but nobody of these big brands are not making money. Like, yeah, okay, maybe it fluctuates as any business, but they are making money. And there's a lot we could dig into on that. But I think, as you say, it's a little bit of a commitment that goes a long way, that will not necessarily affect your bottom line in a way that you would ever notice. But then there's the other side, where a lot of companies almost hide doing charitable efforts, or just they don't want it known because they're afraid that people, like, they're afraid that the industry or the public, let's just generalize it, that they are only doing it to make a PR about it. But I'm sorry, I
Oh,
mean,
fucking
which is
don't get
fair,
me
which is
started on that.
absolutely fair. I get it.
No,
You know what I
dude,
mean?
don't get me started on that shit.
Yeah.
Because that drives me mad. No, like
Yeah.
I know of, and I'm not allowed to say anything about this,
Right.
but I had a dalliance with a lady who works for a charity that's fairly local to me,
Uh-huh.
and this charity is doing wonderful work, really profoundly wonderful work.
Excellent.
They're almost completely funded by a gambling company.
Really?
They're not allowed to say a word, and the gambling company has said that they are not allowed to say a word because they
Right.
know that they would be accused of whitewashing.
Right. Yeah.
And
I
they're
mean,
right.
it's,
And
yeah,
that's
no, it's like,
fucking
it's so
awful.
sad that we have to, like, it's sad because if whatever company and whatever charity you're mentioning, it's like, it's sad. Like, I get why they do that, and good on them I mean, good on the company and good on the chap, obviously, all ways around. But I mean, it's kind of sad that it's come to that. It's like, we can't say anything. But really, at the same time, like, if more companies are contributing to these various causes, it also, in the grand scheme of things, improves the reputation of the industry as a whole. And we all know, like, do you know how nervous I am? Like, I don't care now, but when I was younger, like, my dad's friends and whoever, my dad still doesn't know what I do, and neither does my mom. They're like, she works on the internet. Fine. But like, it's like, I'm like, I work in tech. Like, I don't want to say, like, I work in online gambling, like, it's,
I tell people I'm a sex offender.
yeah, it's probably better,
It really is. I tell
Like,
them I'm a
I'm
sex
retired now,
offender or a
but
banker.
no, it's so true though. Like, and look, like, you've been in the industry longer than me, but I've been around for quite a while. And honestly, it's like, man, I've been in a lot of the different sectors or subsectors of it in my own right. And I mean, why, if we can do something, if we can make a change, I mean, maybe everyone thinks we're talking bullshit. At ICE, I met a lot of people and I really respect their opinions, various industry contacts. Some people were like, man, ESG scares people. That is potentially a roadblock for us, but I mean, that's our brand, and I think it's straight and to the point. But I mean, somebody needs to facilitate the change, and like, we as ESG iGaming.com, we cannot do it alone. Who do we need? We need to work with regulators. We need to work with the big event people. Amazing Clarion, gotta love them. Sigma, SBC. There's tons. I mean, those are the big ones, according to me, according to anyone, I guess. At least from my experience. But we obviously need to work with compliance, regulators, people working in AML, like all this stuff. We can't do it alone. And us being non-profit, it kind of shows that we are really trying to practice what we preach and not just sell some bullshit membership. You know what I mean? It's like, we really want this to have an impact, and celebrate companies, individual people's as well, their initiative to not just give a shit about money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what? What gets me about this is that these things are seen as exclusive of each other,
Yeah.
and they're not. And I'm going to give you the best example of this. Right? It's a friend of the podcast. He's been on. Got a feeling he's been on. I think he was on my old podcast, the Bruford Files.
Nice.
And he's definitely been on the Gambling Files. And he's a lovely guy, and I'm a huge fan of his. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this chap's name is Mark. He's got the best name, Mark Funkhauser.
Not sure. It's a cool name.
Mark Funkhauser is the head of custodial services at the Chumash Casino in California. Right? Now, what he's done in terms of the wider world is great. What he's done for the business is extraordinary.
Okay.
So if you're in California, they have a landfill tax, right?
Right.
It's a big state, but it's quite a progressive state with a lot of its laws, etc. Right. So if you want to get rid of rubbish, you pay a tax.
Right.
You're also paying for the dumpsters to hold it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're renting the dumpsters. You're paying for the dumpsters to be collected and emptied, etc. Right? So it's quite a big deal. Plus the space that the dumpsters take up. I mean, we're not talking small things. And in the average casino resort, just think of the many different kinds of waste that are generated.
Can I imagine?
It's fucking mind blowing, isn't it?
Yeah.
He has reduced, and he's been supported by the casino to do this. He has been able to reduce their landfill waste by over 95%.
Wow. How?
Lots and lots and lots of different ways. But this is where it gets really cool. So what they found was recycling certain things like, I don't know, coffee cups or whatever. There would be a small operation recycling something similar locally. So they then go to that operation. They say, we've got all of this stuff and we can give you this amount of materials. Can we help you scale up?
Mm-hmm.
And so that whole loop around them can grow and be much more effective and keep all kinds of shit out of landfill. And they've developed their own cardboard recycling on site, things like that. You know, like these things are a huge deal when it comes down to cost. But just think about it in terms of, say, for example, you've got, I don't know, just off the top of my head, Chumash, it's not a small property. Say you've got, and I'm being conservative here, say you've got 20 dumpsters out the back, right? Say those dumpsters cost you $100 a week each to rent. And say they cost you another $100 a week in your landfill tax. Are you doing the maths?
Yeah.
That's $4,000 a week saved.
Yeah.
Every week. Forever.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's over $200,000 a year. And that's a number plucked out of my ass. The actual number is going to be far greater.
Yeah.
So the work that they've put in developing all of this and in developing the recycling environment around them has resulted in huge, and I mean huge, cost savings, huge efficiency savings, greater awareness of processes, etc., etc. And the knock-on is just colossal.
I mean, I think rather than, I mean, that sounds fantastic. It gives me so many different examples if I think about Nordic countries and things like that and how they do processing. Aside from that, I think economically, money-wise, yeah, sure, that's amazing. It saves a ton of money and like more than we can fathom probably. But I think the better thing to highlight on that is the environmental impact, obviously, you know. And I know, I think that's such a good initiative. And you know, it like this Funkhauser up there. Speaking of band names, that would be a good one. But I think you know that's one guy who saw a problem and found a way to facilitate a solution through other people that were or other organizations or groups or so on who are already doing that. And that is like a really cool example that you made. Not to mention a phenomenal effort, but that is very similar to what we are trying to do. You know, and of course it is very much a step by step. But in terms of really putting it into action and so on. But you know, like it really just takes a few people to care, you know. And you know how the industry is too. I mean, I love the iGaming industry. I mean, I don't even think I could work in another industry because I've just been in it too long. But you know, it has its as any, and I'm not saying this. I'm only just being honest, and I'm pretty sure someone would be not self-aware to say otherwise. It is like a bit of a popularity contest in some ways, you know, like once one brand starts doing it, or once like, and other people, you know, everybody wants to jump on board, and of course that's just like human nature from the grand scheme of things. But you know, the more the ball rolls, the farther it goes, you know. And the cooler someone, oh, sustainability is cool. I even wrote down some examples. Funny, a compliance guy not related to gambling who is in my course, in my ESG course. He's a older guy from India. Him and I got on quite well. I just met him yesterday, and he said, by the way, Playtech, who everyone knows Playtech, they have many different
Tentacles.
yeah, you know, and they even have now, for at least for the European jurisdiction, they have their own info pay. Like, they're really taking ESG seriously. But well, they are a massive company, so they kind of really have to, because they have to adhere to the directives of reporting. That's one thing. So I mean, okay, in some ways they have to do it, but they are doing it pretty well. If I took a look at it yesterday, Only Bet's another one, and Play Go. I had a meeting with them. I know the company quite well from over the years. They are taking the CSRD very seriously. Yeah, I mean, these are big players, you know. And we don't want everybody at the beginning. We want quality companies that are not just doing it for the green PR.
They don't just want you to come and help you make a tick in a box.
Exactly. And like, that is, and I mean, that I hear that example, at least in ESG, and I mean, a compliance perspective. I consulted for many finance clients over the last 4 years, and I actually do one-on-one with personal finance clients as well. And that's even, I mean, it's pretty much, it's like, iGaming is so regulated. It's one of the most regulated industries in the world, along with finance, insurance, and all that fun stuff, you know. And what that has always been, it's a checkbox, but like, that's not the thing anymore. Like, it's not, I mean, maybe it used to be, but things change and things evolve, and that's what I believe where we are now, you know. I mean, yeah, I think. And it's exciting, you know. I love it. Say again, sorry?
I think fundamentally everybody wants to know how everybody else is doing things.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And like,
it is a tricky thing, right? It is a tricky thing, and this is, you're going to hear this or some variation of this. I love the sound of what you're doing. It sounds great. I don't think our players give a fuck.
Okay, that's a really, I love that you brought that up. I respect that view, absolutely. From a general perspective, and I think you have a very good point with the iGaming industry, because it's very different from others, let's be honest, as we know. Okay, let me give you an example, yeah? So, we are a bit older than the ones coming into the gambling, the legal gambling age, right? I can't speak from that perspective because I'm too old from that perspective. I'm not that generation. But I mean, statistically and generally speaking, the younger people will be, I mean, gambling is gambling. So it's like, I don't know if this will make sense for the future, but I very much believe it will become competitive advantage and benefit to be a gambling company that cares about ESG. Why? Because the younger generation of potential bettors and potential players will care about this stuff. They say, I mean, statistically speaking, and I don't have one to pull up, I could search it, doesn't matter. I think if you follow this area, it's kind of common knowledge and common sense. The younger generation care more about more sustainable activities, whether it's fashion. Why do you think all the kids thrifting is so cool? I've been doing that stuff since I was like 13. It's awesome. Yeah, I love it. But anyway, I mean, from a gambling perspective, thinking about esports, I tried a couple of attempts for esports affiliate sites long time ago, mind you, but those people, and esports is a massive, I mean, I'm not so involved with that industry anymore. I had some clients back in the day. Anyway, those esports players, do they care? I don't really know. But that is a big sector of the future bettors or gamblers or whatever you want to call it. whatever you want to call this type of activity. Well, esports predominantly eventually will be a gambling activity. It is already, you know, and it has way more viewers than even traditional sports, from what I can what I can recall. But don't you think that these gambling companies that adhere to these standards and actually vocalize that they're really trying to be as correct as they can be, don't you think that the younger generation might follow that brand rather than the scammy Curacao crypto casino? I mean, not that everybody from Curacao license is a scammer, but I mean, what do you think? I mean, I don't know. That's a whole other ball game. That's a different thing, of course, you know.
But there's only one way to find out. And I was saying this to a friend recently who works in RG.
Uh-huh.
I said, you know, I'd love for somebody to set up like a little sub brand
Mm-hmm.
that just enables all of the RG tools when you sign up. It's just done. It's in the background. The player never
Yeah.
knows about it.
Yeah,
Because
I
nobody
mean,
knows
brilliant.
the impact of that because nobody's fucking done it.
No,
So why
it's
don't you
brilliant.
do it and find a benchmark, and then you can start fucking about. Because right now everybody's just pissing in the wind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, great. The AGA's come up with a new thing. Yes, it's another fucking slogan.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. What are you doing? You know, like, what actions are you doing?
But if this little sub brand, you know, all of the machinery for it exists in the organization already.
Right.
Prove what works. Prove what doesn't work. Prove
Yeah,
it
no,
by
I
doing
think
it.
it's
That's the key.
brilliant.
Prove
Yeah.
by doing.
Exactly. Lead by example. And, you know, if and when, I mean, there's a lot of RG tools. Of course, they're on our radar because we want to work with them in terms of creating the ecosystem for ESG in iGaming, right?
But my point regarding to what you've been saying is, if somebody does that and they do it well, they're going to be 2 years ahead of anybody else doing it. Not that it's going to take 2 years to do, but a pivot could take 2 years. And it's the same with the ESG thing. If it turns out to be resonant, then people are going to be, well, whoever goes for it is going to be miles ahead.
Yeah, I believe that as well, you know.
With the iGaming products that are on offer, people are largely offering the same thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are some differences, but the key differences are in branding and promotions.
Absolutely.
The promotions are leveling out all over the world because of regulation. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But that leaves branding. So what is your branding message? Because it's not necessarily who do you think your players are. It's who do you think the players that you haven't got are.
True. Yeah. No, that's well said. Yeah.
Find new money.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's out there.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I mean, I'm glad you brought up the regulation topic. I mean, I'm not a regulator. I never worked for a regulator. You know, the iGaming world is so many pieces to the puzzle. Actually, thanks to your podcast, I learn a lot in the areas that I haven't worked with directly. So I really love it. Aside from the obviously awesome entertainment of you and Finthin, I really learn a lot, and it contributes. That's why I listen so much. Even your old episodes, that's I really enjoy, because obviously now it's maybe different, but you know, obviously regulation has been such a big topic, and that is a big piece of the puzzle when you want to look at ESG, because regulation, it's such, pardon my French, but it's a fuck show. You have Europe, and then like, yeah, it's all this, and then there's, yeah, I don't even know. I don't get it all, and I don't claim to get it all because I really don't. But it's like, why do you think players are going to these crypto? And I love crypto. I've been in the crypto game since 2012, so I'm not dissing crypto. By the way, I think blockchain is a brilliant technology that we can use for meeting these ESG goals and player protection goals and so on. But that's another topic. But why do you think the players are going there? Because it's easier, and they don't have to go through all these regulation, or I mean, it's confusing. Like, I don't really understand all of it, to be honest. But I know there is a serious, obvious issue that why, like with regulation of why it's driving people to go to these places. And by the way, how many stories have I heard about players like not getting money? I mean that's a whole other massive topic, but you know what I mean? So that like the system is broken. Like, do I have the solution? No, but I want to facilitate.
Regulators
Yeah.
regulators are not learning from over-regulation.
Right, yeah, which they should be, but they just don't care. They're all paid shitloads of money. They don't give a shit. Let's
Everybody
be
should be
honest.
looking at Germany. Everybody should be looking
Mhm.
at Sweden. Everybody should be looking even at the Netherlands.
The Netherlands is a
Some
big
things are
one.
working. Some things are working and some things aren't.
Yeah,
But it's not that difficult to look at it and figure out what's working and what isn't, or what
yeah,
can create a healthy and competitive space,
right,
and a safe one.
right, yeah.
And you know, I find it really bizarre that like what Ontario's been going for 2.5 years or whatever.
Oh my God, I mean, yeah, I stopped paying attention. That's where I'm from, of course, but I mean, it's and then also with the tribal casinos, I know. I mean, I'm not really an expert in that, to be honest. I really focus a lot more on Europe, but yeah, it's an interesting one. And being from Canada, it's a very strict country. Sorry, you know.
Yeah, but they have created a competitive open market,
Okay.
a regulated competitive open market, and they've done a better job of it. I think it's reasonably fair to say.
Oh, really? So they
Then
would be, in your opinion, a good model to reference.
yeah,
Okay, interesting.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely a
Yeah.
great
Okay,
starting
that's
point.
good to hear.
Um, and I never expected to be saying this.
Right.
But nobody's followed that. Nobody's picked up on that and gone, holy shit, look at what they're doing. That's working.
Interesting.
Even the country whose hat Canada is, the United States, even they're not looking at it and going, lads, I think we fucked up.
Yeah. I mean,
They're just going, let's raise taxes, let's do this, let's do that. They've made some really fundamental errors in some states, really bizarre, really strange errors. And I get it.
yeah.
Lobbyists are paid big money for a good reason.
Yeah.
But we're talking about some real fundamental shit. And
Yeah.
and
And
and it's not difficult. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that regulation is a very difficult job,
yeah. Yeah.
but you have to apply a degree of common sense, surely.
For sure. And like it's progress, not perfection. I mean, and also owning any mistakes. I mean, I mean, you probably are much more knowledgeable in this area than me, to be honest. But I mean, a lot of people don't. I think this is just a human thing and definitely a business thing. Like people don't want to own their shit when they make a mistake, or companies or brands or whatever. They just want to like push it to the side, whatever. I mean, I'm sure we can both come up with many
No,
examples of that. But
I think accountability is a big deal. I
yeah,
do think it's one of those things where I just think if you fucked up, you got to hold your hands up and say,
million
fucked up.
percent, million percent
I fucked up.
awareness. You know.
Here's what I'm going to do to put it right.
Yeah, and
Because
that
it comes back
speaks
into that authenticity thing that we were talking about.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Which is almost priceless because what you want
Mhm.
when you speak is for people to believe you.
Yeah. I mean, and I mean, I think people become desensitized and don't. I don't know. I mean, if you think of it from the industry, which has really changed a lot in the last few years, and that's the thing. I feel like we're at a really smart timing with the ESGI gaming as well. I mean, and I've very much done my research. Nobody else is doing this. People are caring about it. And again, we don't have every solution to the problem, but we want to work with the people to help facilitate the solutions because we can't do it all. We're two co-founders. We're trying to build a brand. Like the ultimate goal is to be the #1 certification for ESG in the iGaming industries. Our standards are based across global standards of various components, like I said, ESO, the B Corp, there were some others, I can't remember, but all very well known. I mean, and the more that we can work with leaders in compliance, leaders in KYC, leaders in AML, regulators, other nonprofits. I have a lot of pending conversations. So I don't want to mention them. We'll save it for next time. But we have, like, the wheels are in motion. It's just getting the framework rather, and understanding, like, how can this NGO work with this one, and how can we work with that one? You know, like, it's I mean, we're learning as we go. And I mean, for me, I mean, I've run a marketing agency. It's quite different running an NGO certification for ESG, like, you know, you can imagine. But I think I'm relatively smart, at least from a business perspective. And I'm very passionate with charities and stuff. I've been doing volunteering from a personal side for years. I actually co-founded an NGO. I've done nothing, so I'm not taking any credit, but I did co-found with my best friend. She's Swedish, but she lives in Spain. We started an animal rescue. I helped her, being the marketing background. I helped her with the marketing, tech, branding, coming up with the name, and like the beginning stuff. But she's run with it. It's called the Paw Portal, and I want to sync them in with us as well as we move forward. She's done great work. They're based in Barcelona. Actually, both of my cats that I have downstairs, sleeping, of course. I got them, like, she does the same. So she's facilitating adoption, rescue. Anyway, that's a different topic, but yeah, you know, that's always been a big passion. I mean, big passion. It's just something I feel I should do because I'm more fortunate than other people or animals or whatever, you know. I just think if we all could do a little bit more with our time, money, effort, donations, like, we could really make a better place, you know. So, I mean, that all sounds nice. Of course, ideas are shit, but you have to implement them. That's the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, you know what they say: shit in one hand and wish in the other, and see which one fills up first.
Yeah. That's a new one. I haven't heard that one.
I believe it's American Cousins that thought that one up, but I'm a believer in it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm a great believer in shitting in my hand.
Better than in your pants in Madrid, or maybe not. I don't know.
Seriously, no, it was a bad night. It was a really bad night. It's not good, as listeners to this podcast will probably remember.
I must have missed that podcast. I don't remember that one. I only remember. I very well remember the Gilmore Girls, of course.
There was an errant sneeze, and yeah, it's not my proudest moment.
No. But you know, you're owning it. You're authentic, and you're owning the moment. You know, so.
But you know, interestingly, I was on my own, so I could have just kept that to myself forever.
Yeah, I mean, but it would always be eating you from the inside. If it was me, I would definitely feel like I had to tell someone, because I would just think, like, somebody needs to know that this happened. That's me. Yeah. If it happened to me, which it hasn't, but if it did, I would definitely tell someone.
You're speaking too much there. I think that's a guilty conscience speaking.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I mean,
I think you've shat yourself. Maybe just not in Madrid. Maybe it was in Barcelona.
Maybe in Barcelona. You never know.
Let me tell you about a friend of mine, right? Juliet. Juliet's lovely. Hopefully going to her birthday party in September.
Nice.
She's turning 50, right? And she's a bit of a superstar. And I've shared, let me think. I've shared flats with her in 2 different cities.
Nice.
And we know each other from way back at school, and her brother's an old friend of mine as well. And she told me this story the one day. She was out on the Lash in Tenbury Wells, which is a nearby town.
Mm-hmm.
And she ducked down an alleyway to have a crafty wee on the way home. And she'd had a bit too much to drink, and she threw up into her own pants.
Oh, God, hey.
And I don't just love that she did that. I love that she then told me about it.
But you were there. You weren't there.
No, I wasn't there.
Okay. Like,
well,
by the way,
she told me the next day. You'll never guess what I did last night. Yeah, you're right. I would never have guessed that.
I mean, to be honest, I'm a pretty open book, and I would probably admit it also. I would. I'd be like, somebody needs to know about this, or I won't be sleeping tonight, you know. No.
It might be embarrassing, but it is also hilarious.
It's very hilarious. I mean, I've definitely done my fair share of embarrassing stuff. Not that either, Not yet.
Yeah. I have another friend who's like, she's like really grown up and she's a psychologist now. And
Nice.
one night we went out on the lash and she got really drunk and she threw up on the local shoe shop's steps and left her purse next to it.
And in a small town,
really
that's very
to,
different.
That's it. And I'm really looking forward to telling her kids that. I can't
And
wait.
I mean, yeah, it has a different ring to it when it's a small town. I'm from a small town, I get it.
Totally. It's drink. It's no good for you.
No.
So Brandy, look, I'm gonna cut that short there. Well, shortish. It's not really short. We've been talking for a while.
Yeah, I love it.
If anybody wants to catch up and find out more about what you're doing, about the project you're working on, it is esgigaming.com.
Exactly. And they can just contact us through the contact form, obviously.
And Brandy can also be found on LinkedIn. It's Brandy with an IE, isn't it?
E Black, yeah. There's not many of
what
me.
What does the E stand for, Brandy?
Elizabeth, because I'm so noble.
I thought that.
Yeah.
That was definitely what I thought. I thought, oh yeah, look at this, she's really noble.
Well, Black. Oh, we talked about this actually. I think we did. Previous.
We did. It's an old English surname.
Yeah. Well, I go by Black because nobody can pronounce. I don't know. It's a long story, but I was like, nah, Black. It sounds cooler. Then people think it's a porn name. And I'm like, no, it's my real name, kind of. And then Spanish people call me Brenda. It's like I can't win. So whatever. Call me whatever
Brenda.
you want. It's fine.
Oh, that is the best nickname.
Brenda. It's the worst name, like Brenda.
All-time classic gambling industry nickname right there.
It's funny. You have no idea the comments when I say my name is Brandy and then I say my whole name and they're like, nah, that's not your real name. I'm like, it is. You can literally look at my driver's license. They're like, nah. Okay. Brenda, whatever.
Yeah, you're going to be Brenda from here on. So.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not the first.
So you can look up Brenda on LinkedIn. She's misspelled her name. It's Brandy, Brandie. But you'll find her. Or obviously you can reach out to us and we will happily introduce. So Brenda, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It was really a pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Hey, I really appreciate it.
It's been our pleasure. I say our pleasure. I'm using the royal we there.
Yeah, that's
I'm answering for Finton while he's busy. He's probably in some very executive meeting somewhere. Probably got a cigar in his hand in a sauna. Probably in a sauna. An executive sauna, which is very different kind of sauna.
Comes with cigars.
Anyway, yes, I know Finton wanted to be here, but he is busy executive.
No stress at all. Next time, hey.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
If you've enjoyed this episode of the Gambling Files podcast, please find us on LinkedIn. Give us a big, juicy, succulent like. That nearly went wrong. You can find us under the name The Gambling Files Podcast. You can find us on Twitter under The Gambling Files. I think the handle is just @GamblingFiles. You can connect to myself, John Bruford, or Finton Costello, also on LinkedIn. We're also both on Twitter. And you can find all of our previous episodes at www.thegamblingfiles.com. If you enjoyed it, please share. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your colleagues, and we'll see you next time.